and I'm going to be doing a poetry hour today for some of my poems. This is the Sick of This Pod, or sorry, Sick of This Show. I've been recording stuff for the pod. So welcome to the Sick of This Show. I'm Nick Paro, and today we're going to be doing a poetry hour. Um, so I wanted to read poems that I've written over the past few weeks, or go through some of the series of poems that I've been working on, um, and maybe get some feedback from people in the audience. If anyone has any thoughts or questions or wants to know more. My big thing for those who are kind of new here, if you are, is I write political, social, and patriotic poetry. Good morning, Carol. It's good to see you. And I wanted to read some of my pieces. One of the sets that I've been working on is a series about fibromyalgia, um, which is a condition I suffer from. Um, and for those who don't know, simply it's a neurological condition that really fucking sucks. Causes a lot of pain, and is really just it's miserable. And it's really unseen. So I've been writing a series of poems about fibromyalgia. Um, and I kind of wanted to go through all of them that I have so far, and get some feedback or get some comments in the chat and see what people have to say. Just go through each one. I'll explain them a little bit, and then we can discuss them. We got an hour, no guests today. Um, but if people do have poetry that they maybe want read or want to have talked about, I would be happy to do a little bit of that too, if we've got some time. So welcome everybody. Welcome. Just giving a couple minutes to start up the show and get some people in and people joining. Morning Robes, morning Joe. It's good to see you both. I'm glad people are starting to come in. And I want to, like I said, I'm going to get started with some of my poetry. Um, and they're all going to be from the Fibro series. Um, and so there are 7 poems so far within the Fibro series. We're going to start with the first, which is Drifting Through Darkness. And then we will go, I'm pulling them up as we go, just so that I've got them, and easy to see. The second one is An Unseen Swamp. Um, Oh, no worry, Joe. I'm glad you're here with me and with us. Quiet or talkative, both are greatly appreciated. Um, and then after An Unseen Swamp, we'll go to Of a Rubber Band Too Tight. Just getting them organized on my screen as well. And then our next one will be Body and Mind, followed by Thundering Pain, and then Chirps at Night, which is the happiest of the poems in the series so far. And then finally, the last one from today, which is Heavy Drops of Rain, or from yesterday, which is actually going to be today's podcast. So at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, my podcast will be out. Sorry, everyone. I've been a little inconsistent on it over the last week. A lot going on with the Banner and Backbone and launching that new network. Um, so it's been busy, but I'm trying to keep up on the poetry and the podcast. I've got both today and tomorrow's episode already scheduled out. So look for those at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Today's will be our Heavy Drops of Rain, which is the Fibro series number 7. So let's get started. Let me get my phone plugged in too, so it doesn't die on us, because Substack eats through the batteries. All right. So first, we're going to start with Drifting Through Darkness. And I'm going to do a reading, and then we can talk about them. And if anybody has any questions in the chat, please feel free to ask. And then I'll give a little bit of the description about what the poem's about. And yeah, hopefully we can make this a little bit of a conversation. If not, we'll just do some poetry reading. Good morning, Kimmy, as you come in as well. So we're going to begin this morning with Drifting Through Darkness. Drifting through clouds, I wander, floating free. Sorry. Hey, gentle, please. You're breaking my stuff. I'm on nanny duty um, right now. Not my own kid, but I'm on nanny duty and I'm having a good time. Um, and so we're reading poetry, and a little one gets to enjoy it without even knowing it. We're going to make this kid into a poet without them knowing it. So let's start over. I got tongue tied on that on this one. These can be a little tongue tied. Morning, Mohammed. Thanks for joining us today. I saw you earlier as well. Thanks for joining both. So let's get started again. Drifting through darkness. Drifting through clouds, I wander. Wandering free, I float. Suddenly, lightning strikes. It ripples through, coursing, pulsing, pulling, 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 pulling at nothing. Nothing. Nothing? Not nothing. I, I, I'm drifting. Drifting through clouds, I float. Floating on nothing, thunderclaps, slapping me back, flashes of light, lightning, lighting me up, upwards it curls, curling, coursing, pulsing, pulling, pulling, pulsing, pounding. Nothing, nothing. No, not nothing. Pulling, not pulling, sucking, drinking, taking, eating, consuming my mind. Darkness. Ah, blissful darkness. Drifting through darkness. Floating. I'm floating. Freely I wander. Wandering. I'm wandering. Through clouds I drift. Drifting. I'm drifting. Blissful through darkness. Drifting through clouds, lightning strikes. Striking. Rippling through. Floating on nothing. Thunderclaps, slapping, pulling me back. Back from the darkness. Back from the dark. Flashes of light. Curling upwards. Curling. It pulls me. Pulling me down. Pulling me. Pulling. That was Drifting Through Darkness, which, as I said earlier, is the beginning of the fibromyalgia series or fibro series. So this is part one. And the short answer to what this poem is about, because I've started putting in a section after each poem, it's what is this poem about? A little bit of info on the poems themselves. Um, and this one is about fibro, obviously. It's the start of the fibro series, but it's also about the pains that I go through and the types of pain that I personally experience. And for me, I can't write about other people's experiences, but I do hope that I can highlight some of their experiences and give voice to experiences that are hard to speak through. Um, and so for me, this one is one of the pains that I feel is I have a neuropathy in my left leg that goes from my foot right behind my index toe on the palm of my foot. And it feels like it's half asleep, but it's also really tight and it pulls and it curls my toe under. And when my toe begins to curl, everything else goes with it. And it causes a pain that just goes up my leg, through my hip, and it pulls upwards, and then it pulls back down. And so it goes up to down and down to up, and it kind of sucks. It's that pulsing, and coursing feeling that goes through. And Joe, that's an amazing comment. Thank you. Joe says that sounded like slow, rocky river sinking, and it hurts. Sorry. and it does. It hurts. It really does. It kind of wears on your mental stability and your mental health all the time. And I understand why so many people with fibro have such a hard time with mental health and are depressed or are anxious about things because you don't know when the pain is going to start. You don't know when it's going to stop. You don't know if it's going to be a sudden change in weather and now you're curled up in pain and and wishing you could be somewhere other than you were. And it does. It hurts. It sucks. But there are good days. And those good days are just days where it's dulled pain, and we'll get to that. That one's the Chirps at Night poem. So are there any questions or comments in the chat before we go on? I'll give just a couple seconds. I know it takes a little bit to type, so I'll monologue and filibuster for a moment to give anyone time to type if they want. And if not, thank you, Kimmy. I appreciate that. And if not, we'll move on to our second in the Fibro series, which this one is called An Unseen Swamp. And so this one follows on from the first of Drifting in Darkness and is more of the physical outward sensation that I have to experience through some of this. And we'll get into it and then we'll talk about it after. So this is An Unseen Swamp. Through an unseen swamp I tread, with feet wrapped in socks of lead, sluggishly walk while tripping on roots, with socks stuck in mucky boots, booted and stuck, rooted in muck, threading through an unseen swamp. Booted and stuck, rooted in muck, tripping on roots while I walk. Slowly I pull, stuck. Slowly I pull, muck. Slowly. Sluggishly I lift. No feet. Sluggishly I lift. Concrete. Sluggishly. Unseen swamp I tread on through. Socks of lead, feet wrapped too tight. Tripped on roots, sluggish I walk. Mucky boots stuck to my feet. Sluggish. Filled with concrete. Sluggish. Are those my feet? Sluggish. An unseen swamp I can't get out. Feet stuck on roots. Can't call out. Slowly, I'm stuck. Slowly, I sink. Slowly, this unseen swamp. That was An Unseen Swamp. And thank you, Kimmy. I appreciate it. I also know that a lot of you in the audience and folks who subscribe to me also have fibro or chronic conditions. And I know this because you all comment on my pieces and tell me your experiences and share your stories, which is exactly what I want. And so I want people to share their stories. I want people to commiserate with each other. I want to make a space where people with fibro feel seen. And I know there's so many things going on right now, and there's so many things we all need to worry about. There's so much stress and anxiety. And if you know somebody who has fibro, you know what that is like. You know what that does to them. And so we can't say it's not time to hear or see folks with disabilities or folks who are suffering. In fact, now is the most important time that we see them and each other and remind ourselves that we're here and that we exist and that we deserve to be seen too. And so I'm hoping these poems bring that out. And this one, to go a little deep, thank you, Kimmy, for your words. And I appreciate that. And this one is actually more almost on the MS side, multiple sclerosis. Sorry, hard word. Or MS. It's got a lot of similarities to fibro, but one of the main things that are key indicators of like MS-like conditions are a sock-like feeling around your feet and ankles and up to, for me, like mid-calf. It feels like I'm wearing not a compression sock, but a tube sock all the time. Um, and the feeling in that part of my legs is it's like half asleep. So if you ever feel that tingling where you're sort of sleeping, no, that is not for you. Um, when for sorry about that. For those of you who like understand or maybe have someone with MS is like um your feet sort of go disappear on you. Um, and so it's almost like I can't feel my like the poem says is sluggish, filled with concrete. Sluggish are those my feet because I'll be walking and then I won't notice that like one I can't feel my feet while I'm doing it, and I'll trip over something like a rug edge, the dog, something simple that it's hard to move at times. Like I'm not someone who suffers full time. Like I can feel my feet move a lot better than most other people, but I'm also very new in this triggered condition. Um, and so I just want to feel or highlight what it feels like now. So maybe I can remember and look back and remind people or let people see and hopefully hear themselves. Um, and it it feels it's almost like I said, it's like your feet are asleep or like your legs are asleep at all times until they're not, and then they just light up. So it's like a cold turkey going into a fryer. Um, Joe might be a good way to describe it. It's like yeah, a frozen turkey hitting a fryer, and then all of a sudden it just explodes into pain because there's still water inside, and water when it boils like that explodes out of the oil. So that's actually a good cold turkey is a good. I don't know if that's exactly what you meant on your question, but it fits um, into how the poem works. So uh, I appreciate so far everyone. We're on poem number two. Or we just finished poem number two, which is an unseen swamp. Um, and the next one is going to be poem number three, which is a rubber band too tight. Um, this one will be a little different. There are some sound effects in this one. So hold with me as I hopefully um, I'm going to make the sound effect. Um, oh yeah, cold turkey from doing drugs. Yeah, exactly. Like it's almost like withdrawal. Um, like withdrawal symptoms for people is at times as you're shaky, you're in pain, you're miserable, you've got migraines, you're anxious about everything, you're depressed. Um, yeah, yeah, that's it's fucking awful. That's thanks for clarifying, Joe, and thanks for commenting too. It's um understanding the symptomology and having it like relatable, I think is really helpful because people understand other conditions, but they don't really understand fibro or MS because they're unseen. And so it's often seen as faking them. I'm going to do my sound effect. Going back to what we were talking about here for our next poem is I'm going to do my sound effect. If someone can give a thumbs up or something in the chat, if you can hear the sound effect after I do it, because I don't know if my headphones are going to try and mute it out. And if they do, I'll just say the word rather than doing the sound effect. So this is what I'm going to do during the poem. Let me know if you can hear. Um, I hope that went through. Um, so I'm going to begin my poem, which is okay, perfect. Thank you. So I'm going to begin the poem, which is a rubber band too tight. Like a band of rubber pulled too tight, snapping pain to keep you up at night. Snapping pain, like a band of rubber stretched too long, slipping back but never quite so strong. Slipping back, like a band of rubber slipping on a too smooth ball, sliding off with a jolt, yet never to fall. Sliding off, like a band of rubber worn with tears so thin, slipping, skipping on gaps with a catch to begin. Skipping on, like a band of rubber, pulling, catching, jolting. Never quite the same, slipping, skipping, sliding, worn with overuse, tearing, stretching, rubbing, frayed on edges smooth, popping, popping, popping. That was a rubber band too tight, um, which, as I said, is the third in the Fibro series, um, and is a little bit about some of the pain that goes on right around my left knee. So I have right around the knee the main tendon that crosses over the kneecap. So imagine this is the knee, this is my leg, this is going upwards. There's a tendon that crosses around the kneecap, or something of whatever part of the body that I think it's a tendon that does it. And mine jumps. It spasms all the time, but it feels like it's skipping and jumping and sliding. And it's this rubber band of doesn't come back the same as it's been before. It it hurts, it pops, it moves. It doesn't feel like the knee is quite right, but I know the knee is right. Because for this one, I've had two surgeries on that knee in the last 2 years, and I know it's fixed, and I know that it's not wrong, but I also know at the same time it's not the same that it was, and it doesn't ever feel the same, and it's not going back to being the same. Rachel, I'm sorry, that fucking sucks. Like, it's one of the worst feelings just to feel your like a piece of your body just skip wrong while you're walking, or anything like with your Achilles. Like, I, I can imagine. I wish I could say I can't imagine, but I can definitely imagine how shitty that must be. Like, I'll take a step while I'm walking and my knee will just spasm and all my leg will partially collapse. Like, that's a common thing for me. And they keep asking, like, have you fallen yet? Like, when I go to the VA, they ask, because I'm a fall risk now. They ask, when was the last time you fallen? Have you fallen? And I always have to catch myself right now is I haven't fallen yet because I keep catching myself. And so I'm good for now, but I know I'm going to fall. And yeah, it's going to cause sprained ankles. It's going to cause a busted knee. It's going to do damage in ways that I'm not ready for yet, but it also just, in general, like, it hurts. It sucks. I used to ride a motorcycle. I can't do that anymore because I can't trust, one, I don't feel my feet very well, but two, I can't trust that my knee won't pop while I'm in the middle of a turn and I'll go down, and cause even more damage, or I'll hurt someone. Um, and so I've had to change a lot in my life because of this. So fibro and MS and AS, which is ankylosing spondylitis, all very related diseases to each other. They change your habits. They change everything about what you can and can't do. And so this was one of those that I really had to come to grips with, is my knee is going to do these weird popping, snapping, sliding, skipping things that I'm not comfortable with or like or enjoy or, um, particularly want, but they're there. A lot of people, Kimmy. That's a great question. I know that's more somewhat of a rhetorical question, but a lot of people go undiagnosed or underdiagnosed. Speaking from my experience as a male in this, is it is predominantly seen as a female disease, is fibromyalgia, which I find to be unbelievable that it's a female disease because it's a person disease. It affects all of us. And I really just think at the moment a lot of fibro is just doctors giving up and not caring any longer. Is when they get to something that they can't answer, is that they say it's either fibro or MS. Like MS is more noticeable and like more like diagnosable. And yeah, Joe, all I've heard was that sometimes mostly women get like MS and that doctors never take it seriously. Exactly. It's a prevalent issue in women, Rachel. Yeah, exactly. It's much more prevalent in women, but men also don't ever go get seen for it because, and I specifically asked about fibro, and I had to be very, very, very diligent about continuing to bring it up over a 2 year period before they truly believed me. Is because for especially for men is they don't think most doctors don't think it's a disease for men. They think you're faking it. They think you just want attention, and just like women, like they'll say the same thing to women is, oh, you're faking it. You just want attention. It's something else. Um, it's your sciatic nerve, or you're having bad period cramps for women, or something like that. I've heard the sciatic nerve excuse on my side a couple times, like, oh, it's your sciatic nerve that's causing this. No, it's fucking not. I've been through physical therapy for the last year and a half, stretching my sciatic band, and it hasn't gotten any better. So fuck off. Like, it's it's really awful that because it's a disease that just sort of stops being diagnosed, they're like, well, you're stuck with this. So every pain and everything going on in your body is either now part of fibro or a secondary condition that we're really not going to care about too much or try and stop or diagnose. Like most of the secondary conditions for fibro sufferers are preventable things, like or diagnosable and treatable things like arthritis conditions or weakening of joints and bones and things. It's or like your spine getting all fucked up, and spinal stenosis or neuropathy in your spine or um, oh shit, there's another one, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on in your spine that's associated with this too that I've noticed, as well as in your brain, in your head, with headaches, and things like lockjaw. A lot of folks who have fibro or similar conditions, you'll notice pain right about here in your jaw, which is right about where your trigeminal nerve is. And I know this because trigeminal neuralgia is a condition, where your trigeminal nerve is being fired too often, but it also affects your jaw. Like, a lot of people who have fibro will suffer from lockjaw. I'm probably one of those. Like I can't chew on things over like I can't open my mouth all the way most of the time, or my jaw pops. Like I have to shift my jaw into place to get it open all the time. Like that's not something I experienced until I had fucking fibro. Things just tend to get worse, mostly because doctors sort of just stop caring, is what I think it is. And they sort of just give up and they're like, yeah, well, you got fibro, so everything else is fibro too. So we're not going to give a shit. Um, yeah, people refuse to listen, and it's hard too because we can't give ourselves rest when we need it. And that's the hardest part is we need rest and de-stressing. But we live in a society where stress is sort of built in. And if you're not producing or being productive, you're a waste and useless. It's a very ableist society that we live in. And I've come to find that out really well. And it really sucks. Um, yeah, we just live in a very ableist society. Yeah, and pain is exhausting. Same with mental illnesses, Robes. Yeah. If you can't see them, people tend not to believe them, is what I've come to realize. It's very mirrors society very, very well. Um, no, Rachel, I don't have Lyme disease. I have been checked for that. And I do know exactly what you mean. A lot of studies correlate with Lyme and fibro, and there's very similar symptomologies. Later, Caro. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you get to listen to the rest for follow up. Um, and um, yeah, there's that's a common thing is people talking about Lyme disease and fibro. I had a friend who suffered from Lyme disease, and it's fucking awful too. Like these types of conditions eat at you, and it sucks. Which actually leads great into our next poem, which is Body and Mind. So I'm going to read number 4 in our Fibro series, which is Body and Mind. Body and mind left shredded far behind. While the storm clouds roll in, the pains begin, tearing apart, wind whipping at the mind, lost in the flash of pain surging within. Floating into the void, I drift away, silently lost inside a world so stark. Suddenly hit, your body will betray, shooting straight down, striking, it is the spark. Lashing from hip to toe, it strips you down, naked to all the pain coursing right through, pulsing from toe to hip with pain to drown, gasping for air as storms begin anew, roiling inside, same as clouds up high, churning inside, rumbling, an angry sky. And so that was Body and Mind. Like I said, it's part 4 of the Fibro series. And this one was inspired by an onset of a storm that hit over this past weekend. It was really sudden. I was making dinner. I actually smoked some pork shoulder um, on Saturday this past weekend, and it was a beautiful day all day, getting ready to come in about 5 minutes after I took the meat off the smoker and brought it in the house. Uh, it was pouring, and it was a thunderstorm outside, and it was just sudden and quick and fast. And when that storm hit, my body shifted completely. Like we had friends over for dinner, and I was done. I I was done after that. My body just shut down. It came with the storm, and like I said, it went lashing from toe to hip. It strips you down, naked to all the pain coursing right through. Is I gave up on the night. Basically, I was done. Like I sat at the table and I lost all focus in the conversation. I lost that my friends were there, and my body betrayed me. Um, at that time is like I wanted to just hang out and sit, and we weren't even doing anything. But I had to lay down, and I couldn't focus. My vision went out of focus. I just was done, and it's really tough. And Rachel, yeah, I love storms too, but not what they do to my body. Totally agree. Um, One of my favorite things to do is sit outside and watch thunderstorms roll in and rain clouds begin and seeing the change in weather. And I live in a place where changes in weather are fast and sometimes very vicious, but also really incredible to watch. Um, and it sucks that it hurts to watch them. Um, and I wish that it didn't hurt to watch them, but it does. And sometimes I just, like I said in the poem, is I float into that void and I drift away. Um, and sometimes it's better not to think about the pain and just drift away. Um, Thanks, 1 minute. I appreciate that. I've been told I have a voice for radio. Hopefully, I don't have a face for radio, because that would be unfortunate. But I have been told I have a voice for radio, and it's always actually something. Maybe because I'm not fired up about politics. You're right. You're right. I do get fired up sometimes, quite a bit about politics. It pisses me off a lot what's going on, and I don't like keeping my emotions in anymore on it because I need to get them out. But yeah, when I'm just myself and just chilled out, hopefully you enjoy my somber voice and my nice my nice baritone. Voice for radio as we bring you into this lovely day. It's like the replacement for NPR. I'm your new favorite NPR host coming at you. Um, Thanks, Joe. My wife actually asked me the other day, she was like, "So do people just are you like a comedian now? Like, do people find you funny?" I was like, "Yeah, I think so. People keep wanting me back for things, and um, yeah, at least no one's told me that, Rachel. I'm glad no one's told me I have a face for radio. I have been told I have a face for TV a couple times, which did make me feel really good. I do like when people say that. Um, but but yeah, that's one of the things actually one minute that I always wanted to do was I actually had originally wanted to go to college for communications so that I could um be the sportscaster for the Syracuse basketball team, the Syracuse college basketball team. That's where I wanted to go to college originally. Um, I didn't get into the program that I wanted to, so I ended up going to a better college because I did get into it, which was Carnegie Mellon, and that's where I really learn my music and my musicality as I studied music while I was there. And so I became a vocalist. I wrote classical music. I've had more than one piece recorded and performed. I Some of my entries to our lives will be pieces that I've written. Or closing outs will be pieces that I've written as we expand this into using like the Restream platform. Um, but I finally moved into poetry. It felt like the right thing to do right now because I needed an outlet for my emotional state. Um, and so before we get into our next poem, which is Thundering Pain, um, is thanks, Rachel. Is that the um, going off the last one is like a storm comes in and then pain explodes. But also this one sort of fit in a little bit with what's going on in the world right now. And so I'll loop it into two different examples is I lost my job about 8 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, maybe a little longer now in the tech field. I'm a disabled veteran. I would love if people would be willing to become paid subscribers or even a founding subscriber too. If you want to be a founding subscriber, I write, you'll get an annual poem and podcast episode, as well as credits on all of I'll tag you as a credit in all of my posts as a founder if you'd like. That's an optional one. You don't have to. I know some people like their privacy. But if anyone would be willing to join as a founding member, it's $200 or more a year of a founding pledge. Right now, we're still in the thick of the summer sale for 80% off paid memberships. So it's $1 a month. And these are forever prices is $1 a month or $11 a year. Um, so basically buy me a cup of coffee, or two. And with 11 bucks a year, it also helps keep my internet and lights on. So thank you for everyone who has become a paid subscriber and um, hopefully a founding subscriber or two. Um, but also thank you to everyone who's just here as free subscribers. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you being here. It really, really helps. And all the feedback that everyone in the community gives is incredible. I love reading all the comments. And if you notice, I try and comment back to most comments that come in. Sometimes I don't. But I do try and comment back to all the ones that you guys give meaningfully, and especially the ones where folks share their stories or add their own inspired little pieces of poetry or um, talk to others and engage. I love those conversations because it helps build the community. Um, and so I appreciate that, Rachel. Um, I know you do. You're always in our lives, but you're always in so many other people's lives that I see, and you talk us up so much, and I appreciate. Um, Excuse me, my Eiffel Tower has already fallen. You don't need to break it anymore. I have the Lego Eiffel Tower from it was a gift from my wife for my birthday, and my dogs fought and it fell over. It was kind of symbolic, like it fell over, and then not too long after I lost my job, um, and so I've left it. I've left it broken for now. I'm gonna fix it at some point here soon, but I have a big Eiffel Tower that eventually I'll show everybody, and it even lights up. It's super cool. Um, Oh yeah. Dean is awesome, Rachel. Obviously, you know I like Dean. I've had him on I was on his show and he's been on one of mine now twice. And we'll talk about it at the end of some special stuff coming up. But Dean Blundell and I get along really well. He's incredible. Yeah, and I love that he reads our comments out in the air. I love that he gives us shout outs. He's just a good dude. He's a good dude. And I really like him. Um, and so if you haven't followed Dean either, go follow Dean Blundell. Like he's fucking awesome. The dude is like he's helping show how much Canada cares about their own democracy and their own people, but he's also showing how much Canada cares about Americans and what it means to be an ally and a friend and someone who's willing to put themselves on the line because he's a target of Trump's too at this point and our administrations, and he has a lot to lose if this were to be bad, just like we all do. And I love Dean because he's out there every fucking day being loud and being awesome and having fun. And he and Zev Shalev are amazing. I could go off on all of that, but we've got a couple more poems we got to get through, and I don't want to keep this too long. I want to make sure we try and keep about an hour, but I like to talk, so you never know. Um, so let's go into our next one, which is the one that sort of wraps into both the fibro world and the social world. It's called Thundering Pain. And I'll talk about it after and why it wraps into both. So here we go. Thundering Pain. A touch lights up the world in flashing pain, nerves of fire as it crawls across skin, burning a trail, searing to drive insane. Thundering pain is a place we begin. The tiniest touches exploding bright, fireworks flowering in one quick flash. Suddenly, loudly, it lights up the night. Thundering pain just waiting for the crash. Ash crashing down as it strikes by the touch, sound alight by the spasming thunder, roiling loud, then bang, there is the clutch, thundering pain, pulling the mind under. Just a small touch resets this storm anew. Just a small touch, threatening to undo. So that was Thundering Pain, um, which is number 5 in our Fibro series. And this one I said is the most relatable to the world around us so far. Is when I thought of this one at the end, obviously this is about thunderstorms and pain moving and the neuropathy and the fibro side of it. But then I thought about it a little more and I imagined, what if our body was our country and each nerve was a neighborhood, or each place of pain was a neighborhood in our country? And we see flashes of fire crawling across those areas as ICE agents come in and they rip our neighborhoods and our communities apart. And that pain suddenly explodes out in thundering spasms. It's the clutch of it all. It is the heart of it all. It's the pain that jumps out, that moves across, that takes over our entire communities. Our body is our country, or our country is our body. Imagine it that way. We, the people, we are each part of that body. We're the neurons inside. And when one gets attacked and is spasming in pain, that echoes outwards to other parts of society, that echoes outwards to other parts of the body, leaving untold pain and suffering in different areas. And with just a small touch, just one small touch, right in the neighborhood, right in the wrong spot, that pain is set anew. A family being torn apart. Abrego Garcia being threatened to be sent to Uganda or wherever the fuck they're sending him to. And the tiniest pain of that. He's one man, but it's rippling across this country what it's doing because it's the destruction of due process. It's not just about Abrego. I don't know him. I don't care about him personally, but I do care about what's going on to our country. And I do care that his family is being torn apart because of it. And that pain threatens to begin a new storm every time. When one of those nerves poked, ice keep poking different points of pain, intensifying that pain with National Guard members, with Marines, it explodes outwards. And that's what they want. They want us to be and live through that pain. And it's awful. Um, and so I see a couple comments in here. Joe, you said synesthesia. It's funny you say that. Is I know a lot of people who have synesthesia. Um, because of music composition, and a lot of composers end up actually having it because it somehow it just helps with composition and writing music. Is you can see, and so synesthesia is one of the effects is that you can see or or hear color with music and sound, and it can be really painful. Different discordant sounds, like certain tones, are painful. Certain melodies are painful, not like, hey, Rowan, sir, we're gonna have some problems if we're gonna be doing stuff, mister. No, we're not rolling around on the floor. We're gonna be getting up. We're gonna be doing stuff that is not this. Please leave and not kick my stuff, mister. No rolling around on the floor where we hit things and break things. And so, yeah, so synesthesia hurts. Like sounds can hurt. It's like fibro of the ears almost at times, like, or of your sight where, yeah, worse than nails on a chalkboard. It's just the sound is part of it. Um, yeah, but yeah, and I've heard that too. Is you if you get good sounds, it's if you've ever listened to the composer Claude Debussy, he is a synesthesia dream because he writes music in sound walls and sound chords that are meant for those with synesthesia because he had it too. Like listen to La Mer if you have synesthesia and you'll understand where Debussy was coming from. La Mer is the sea in French. It's also a beautiful piece. Um, but anyways, let's get back to some poetry. But thinking about sounds and good sounds and sounds that are not discordant and sounds that bring us joy and hope and make us feel good. The sixth in our series is Chirps at Night. Um, and I want to read this one and then we'll get into it a little bit. So, Chirps at Night. Sitting with the chirps at night, I drift free as those clouds so light. Lightly aloft in the sky so bright, hearing those cricketing songs ignite, igniting into a chorus above, where I float on wisps and songs of love, loving the peace of mind it brings, with gentle songs becoming cricketing rings, ringing out clear to shift the wind, opening to twinkling pearls which shine, shining down on a sea of grass, filling the night with waves of green. Greenery takes wing as the songs renew, echoing of stillness, scatter and bounce to life. Lifelong songs blossom to create a callback, hearkening to a time when I drifted so still. Stillness is now a thing of the past, with wind picking up, a breeze blowing so fast. Faster as the cricketing crescendo grows, rocketing into a choir that everyone knows, knowing their song will come to an end. With a leap off the clouds, I begin to descend, descending straight down into a screen of sea, caught on wings of chirps, my mind set free, freely to float with those cricketing wings, finding a peace so rare, knowing the fortune it brings, bringing me gently to soft clouds, refracting moonlight, simmering my mind echoes with millions of cricketing chirps at night. And so that was Chirps at Night, which is the sixth in the Fibro series. And this one is not about pain free, but it's about muted pain nights because those with fibro or chronic pain know that you're never actually pain free. Thanks, Luis. I appreciate that. That one I thought, this one I thought was really important because a lot of my poetry, especially in the fibro, tends to lean on the pain and some of the negative aspects of the fibro and where it hurts and how it impacts me and what it does negatively to my body. But I also wanted to make sure that people knew that there are times when you exist without the pain or you exist with a muted pain and you can just let yourself be free. And it's okay to enjoy those moments um, without having to let yourself be burdened by the fact that you know that it will come crashing down at some point. But you can just enjoy it for what it is that it's pain-free, it's muted, you can drift, you can relax, there's freedom. Does movement help? That's a great question, Joe. Movement does sometimes help. It really depends, though. Um, for me, I find I need to, if I'm going to be doing movement, I have to move all the time or consistently. Um, and I have to move through the pain no matter what, because it's going to hurt. Yesterday I went on a walk for 20 minutes, in the morning and I had to walk through the pain because quarter of the way through my entire left leg decided it wanted to partially go numb, and just throb in pain, but I wasn't going to stop. Um, so yes and no. You'll actually see I move around a little bit while I'm talking and on the camera, is I'm actually standing the whole time um, while I'm on my lives. So if you see me for like 4 or 5 hours in a live, I'm pretty much standing the whole time. I don't sit very often um, because that does hurt because I have some stuff in my spine going on that it compresses and it causes the rest of the things to shoot off in pain. Um, and it sucks. Yeah, wobble stools are cool. I used to have a desk stool, which I may get back again because I do so much standing now. Um, but yeah, you have to find things that work. I know some people use the like yoga balls and things like that because they're gentler on your back and you can move around and you can shift positions and change your body around. But like, I can't sit too much. It sucks. Traveling in a car sucks. Driving like is hard. Airplanes are even worse. I bet most anyone who has fibro or MS or AS or similar, it fucking sucks to fly because the pressure changes. Um, I haven't tried sleeping in a hammock yet, but I will look into that one, Joe. I appreciate that as a suggestion. Um, I've definitely had to soften my mattress and get a bed that can move so I can sleep at like more appropriate positions and change how my body lays. But that's also a really privileged thing I get to be able to do. I have the privilege and the luxury to be able to afford those things, or had the privilege and luxury to be able to afford them when I could. Um, and so I use them. I use them to the most of my advantage, and I use the VA to my advantage too, to as much as I can, because there's only so much they offer in reality, and those services are getting condensed and smaller. So I'm going to use as many of them as I can right now to ensure that I get the best help I can. Um, but like we've noted earlier in the discussion today, is doctors don't like to believe you. Um, I reestablished care last week, I think, at the VA after 6.5 months without my doctor because my old provider left because of the Doge cuts, and my team and staff is now down from, I think, half staff to almost quarter of a staff for providers and care teams for primary care for veterans in Northwest Arkansas. Um, yeah, so let that sink in. There's a huge population of veterans in Northwest Arkansas, and they just cut our veteran care down to a quarter staff. And I was lucky to get a provider, and that provider almost didn't believe me. felt like they didn't believe me when I talked to them about my fibro, and I've been in this diagnosis, and the VA and the government has approved it as my condition on a VA disability. Like, I have fibro. The doctor doesn't get to argue with me that I don't at this point either. Yet they didn't want to believe me. They were like, "Oh, it must be sciatic pain." No thanks. Um, so even after 2.5 years, I'm starting over because I have a new doctor and I have to fight this fight all over again. And it's fucking awful. And everyone who has fibro or similar also knows that is if they change providers, it's you start back over. You're doing it all over again. Nobody wants to believe you. Women, they want to tell you you're faking it because, women don't feel pain for some reason, I think is the stupid excuse. And, um, and men, it's not a thing. Like, apparently it's not a disease that men get. It's in some people's minds. So it's a fight just to be even seen by the doctor as having a real disease, let alone friends and family. Um, and so I appreciate y'all being here with me today to go over the Fibro series. We've got one last poem for the morning. And I'm excited to share this one. It was the poem from yesterday. Um, and it's actually today's podcast as well, which is Heavy Drops of Rain. So I'm going to get to that one in a second. Um, and this one goes back into the pain side of it, from following on our trips at night, which is our pain-free nights. So going back to that one, before we get back into pain, when you have your pain-free nights and when when you can sit down and listen to the chirps at night, hey, not so loud, please. When you listen to, when you're in pain and you're listening at night and you can sit down and relax, or during the day, if you're in pain and you have a pain muted day, not a pain free, but a pain muted day, enjoy it. Enjoy it while you can. Live every moment of it. Float with it, not against it. Float with your painlessness or your muted pain because it's rare. You know it's going to end, but you also know that it brings you fortune. It brings you something that you need. It brings you recharge and refreshing and relaxing, and it helps you just feel better. It helps you be prepared for when the pain does come back because you know it's going to, and it's a fight. It is a fight every time to remember that this pain comes back always, and we have to keep going every single time. So hopefully trips at night is something that folks can keep with them, as a reminder that there are better days that we can feel, that we can have stillness and that we can feel good. Um, but again, it's mixed in with a larger set of painful poems. And so we're going to get to the next one right now. And this series is going to continue. So this is not the end of the series. I just wanted to introduce the first seven. I write poems every day. I write a new poem at the end of the night, each night, or in first thing in the morning each day. And those are the poems that come out. For those who are just joining, I'm Nick. This is Sick of This Shit with Nick. I write poetry, political, social, patriotic, and right now I'm going over some of my social poems, which is my Fibro series. We're getting ready to read the last poem so far of the series, which is number 7, Heavy Drops of Rain. And while you're here, please consider subscribing. If you're a free subscriber or not subscribed yet, please consider becoming a paid subscriber with me to help me build this network and sustain the work that I'm doing. I'm a disabled veteran. I lost my job a couple weeks ago, and I could use all the support y'all offer while I build this and my other network, Banner and Backbone, with Lawrence Winterman and Frederick Pode. And our other amazing contributors who are on with us, Ellie Leonard, Melissa Corrigan, Shane Urick. And I appreciate everyone for being here. Plus, I have my open call for founding members. If anyone would like to be a founding subscriber to be the sickest of them all, um, is stop being sick of this shit and start doing this shit. Um, is what is my saying that I do at the end of my shows, is because I'm tired of being sick of the shit and we need to start doing the shit. And it's my call to activism and my call to getting engaged. And for me, the support would mean the world. Founding members, it's a $200 annual pledge or more. You get a annual poem, commission poem, and podcast episode with it, as well as optionally being credited on all of my posts. For the larger posts and notes that go out. So please consider becoming a founding member with me, or a paid member. Sick of this shit set, or sick of this summer sale is going on for 80% forever off for $1 a month or 11 a year. And with that little plug to pledge plug, I want to introduce our final poem so far in the Fibro series, and the final poem of the morning. I do have some more interviews coming up today and shows, so um, I'll introduce those after we get through this and um, talk through the last one. So here is heavy drops of rain. Heavy drops of rain to mimic the pain. Painful they fall with splashes and all, almost too much as it hurts to the touch, touching so hard like hail, leaving me scarred, scarring my soul, taking apart the whole, wholly unprotected while in this storm, storming into a blast of pain so bright, brighter than the lightning flashing around, rounding from head to toe and back on up. Upward the storm surges on nerves alight, lighting up the spasming raindrops that fall, faltering in steps as pain mimics rain, raining down in flashes as heavy drops, dropping so hard the hail left me so scarred. And that was Heavy Drops of Rain, which is the final, so far, is number 7 in the Fibro series. And this one is really about pain and the mimicking feeling that rain can cause, or sounds like, or looks like to pain, and how it's small drops splashing, causing echoes of pain, and large hail chunks crashing, causing crushing pain. And it each has a different impact. It touches the body differently. It explodes outwards and ripples to different areas, and it saps energy and it lights up the nerves. And as I said in my What Does It Mean section, it's shit. It sucks. Like, it sucks a lot. And I know so many in this audience and those who read my poems and listen to my podcast know this symptomology and know this pain too well. And unfortunately, but I'm thankful that there's more than one of me, that we have each other here, and that we're together in this, because it's an unseen pain and it's an unseen symptomology, and it hurts. It hurts a lot. And many days it feels like the rain is just pounding as heavy drops in a downpour, and each touch lights up the world. I sit with like blurry vision. I sit with a migraine 90% of the day. Causes me to miss steps. It causes me to slip, catch on things, as we talked about earlier, catching on a rug or tripping even on my dogs. Is the pain makes you forget parts of your body. And it's not just the physical side, it's the emotional and the mental scarring. Nancy, you say, yeah, like mental illness can be unseen. It's totally unseen. It's one of the hardest parts of fibro is the mental side, is the emotional side, is accepting that your body doesn't like you, basically, and your body wants to hurt you, and your body doesn't know how to register pain other than 100 or more. Like, it's either on or it's really on. And nobody sees that or understands it. and like pain scales and things like that. They're meaningless to people with fibro or AS or MS or even other unseen mental illnesses that cause pain and shooting feelings. And all of this so far is I just hope that people can be seen through all of this and that people don't feel alone and don't feel like they have to fight this fight without others and that they are unseen. I want people to remember that they are, because I I suffered through this, like, and I talk about it often, and I do for a reason. And I hope people don't get upset that I continue to talk about it. And I know people are going to be like, "Why do you talk about fibro so much? Or why do you talk about these things?" Well, because nobody else does, and if nobody else does, nobody's going to see us. And mm, right now is the time when we need to see the most people. We need to understand the most humanity going on and the most empathy and the most understanding and the most collective will to be better and do better and want to feel and see each other be better. And I think exposing and talking about these things helps that. Um, so I really, really hope um, that you guys all enjoyed today. Through all the hearts, I could see that plenty of people do, and I really appreciate it. And all the comments and engagement from everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for being here with me, Joe, Rachel, Kimmy, Luis, Nancy, for your responses too. I'm going to try and go back and make sure I don't miss some people. Laura, I saw you in there also. Um, Hold on, I don't want to miss any people that I've been seeing commenting. I've been trying to keep up. I appreciate every single one of you who has said something, who share in the comments with me, who share your stories. Please continue to share your stories. Share your stories with me, share your stories with others. Thank you for the support and love. And again, if any of you would like to become paid subscribers or founding subscribers, I would love the support and ability to keep building this and make it stronger and get the word out for those of us with fibro, but also just to get the word out is we need to be seen. We all need to be seen right now. And I think it's good that hopefully we can see some men put out some creativity now in a way that isn't hurting people. Um, and I'm thankful that you all trust me, and that you're willing to be here with me, and that you are all believing me. And I think that's a big piece is belief. Um, and none of you know me other than through what we see on the screen and the writings that I have. But it feels like I know you guys all a little more because of the stories you add and the comments and the things you give back. And I appreciate you all so very much for being here with me. Um, this has been an incredible hour for me to be able to talk and respond and go back and just interact with y'all. So thank you. Um, I hope everyone has a great afternoon. You will see me again today. Um, I do have a couple things coming up, so let me just give a quick breakdown for the rest of the day. Is at 1 2:30 Eastern time, I will be on um, Jacob Summers' show again for another interview with him this afternoon, a bromance interview. We're going to talk about tattoos and other things going on, and symbols and symbology, because he has Norse tattoos. And he's a bearded veteran like myself. And we want to talk about some symbology and symbols that have been taken and um, perverted for terrible causes. And like words, we're trying to take things back in the real meaning. And no, I'm not. We don't mean the swastika because that shit can stay where it is. The Buddhists can keep that one, unfortunately. And I'm sorry that their symbol was taken, but that's we're not taking that one back. But we are going to take back lightning bolts, and we're going to take back stylized images that are not SS propaganda and German Nazi propaganda. We're going to allow the Norse people to keep their symbology and their symbols because they're older and they're better and they're kinder and they care and they value humanity. And you can see that with what the society looks like now because they are an amazing society. Um, and so we're going to talk about symbologies or symbolism and using them into tattoos because we both have some. Um, and then this afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, Ellie Leonard and I are coming on the Banner and Backbone Network for episode 1 of a new show that we're doing, which is called Powerful Voices. And so all of you probably know Ellie Leonard at this point. She's incredible. If you don't follow Ellie Leonard, please do. She's freaking awesome. She is a transcriber by trade, but that means she's also an incredible investigative journalist because she listens to detail and she finds things and picks things out that others don't. And so she and I have started a couple shows together, and today is our first episode of Powerful Voices, which we are going to be speaking about Virginia Giuffre, who was the girl that was stolen. And is really a big part of the Epstein series and Epstein saga and Trump saga, but it's with a focus on the victim and the victims. And this series is all going to be about speaking and using those powerful voices and people coming out and telling their stories. And we're going to give a platform for people to tell their stories and to speak truth to power. And if they're not able to, and with their permission or with public stories like this, we're going to bring their voices to power because they deserve to be heard more than the perpetrators' stories. And we want to make sure that they have closure and that they have justice. So I hope you join us all, or I hope you all join us later today. Tomorrow's going to be a great day as well. So look out for the stick of this show and everything I'm bringing on Banner and Backbone as well. I look forward to seeing y'all again soon. And thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. And everybody go have a great day. Thanks, y'all. I'll talk to you again soon.